Okay, so this is going to be the way I'm gonna roll this thing. Uh, Fuck, never mind. Okay, so I'm gonna start with topic one, which is comparing Man with a Camera to Nanook of the North. So it's been a while since we went over this in class, so it might be a little hazy, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. All right, so here it goes. All right, so basically how I'm doing this is I have my laptop in a room in the MSC, which is right here. Just like adjusting the screen and everything. I have it plugged in with a really long battery, but kind of like the best I got because I don't really want to rock around with my laptop. So yeah, that's what's gonna work. Okay, so comparing and contrasting Nanook of the North with Man with a Camera. So both films are kind of made in the time when film was like a really new idea. So sight was like using sight as a means of telling a story was still relatively like a fresh, like just fleshed out thing. And the main difference is that Nook of the North actually has like some form of narration, whereas the Man with the Camera has like absolutely none. It's relying entirely on the the experiences of the viewer, so the whole concept of phenomenology, to basically apply meaning to the film, because you have that alternation between a woman getting dressed and the city waking up, so you're supposed to be kind of like making a mesh between these two ideas. And whereas like Nanook of the North, you actually have like a narrator going through each scene and telling you what is actually happening. So it's affecting the whole experience because it's applying like a new aspect to the intersemiotic system, which is film. So, which is like, well, actually, no, it wouldn't be intersemiotics. No, it wouldn't be intersemiotics because that's like sight, sound, hearing. Wait, no, sight, sound. Well, basically all your senses, but you're still absorbing those. Yeah, so mainly it's just like affecting the phenomenology of it all. And on top of that, like with Nanook of the North, you really don't see the filmmaking process. It's something that's really hidden and it's very scripted, whereas Man with the Camera, you actually see the man with the camera. You're a part of the experience. So it's that subject object neutrality, where you're essentially like the person making the film is the subject along with everything that they're talking about. So kind of like what I'm doing right now. So it's like I'm the person making the film, but I'm still talking. Now it's kind of different with a Man with a Camera, but yeah, I guess that's really what it is when it comes down to it. That might be a little weird and hazy and like not very specific, but that's really the best I've got. So yeah, that's the comparison between Nanook of the North and Man with a Camera. So, all right, peace out, Cub Scouts. Hi, it's me again. All right, so now I'm going to talk to you about the subject that I actually was really excited for to talk about with the whole midterm, and that is the comparison between Cannibal Tours and, oh god, what was the other one called? Oh, no, The Couple in a Cage. So, the real difference between Cannibal Tours and the subject in The Couple in a Cage is the whole idea of subject and objects. So O'Rourke in Cannibal Tours really made... There's different points without the film where he was the subject, where the Europeans on the tour were the subject, and where the native people, cannibals, whatever you want to call them, were also subjects. And so there was really no mansplain. I mean, okay, there was, because there always kind of is with film, because you're really like you're seeing what the filmmaker wants you to see. You're applying your own sort of, yeah, again, this is phenomenology coming back into it, where you're applying what you know from the world onto what you're seeing. But like O'Rourke is really trying to get away from the mansplain. And with A Couple in a Cage, it attempts to do the same thing but differently. So you really don't. You're viewing the couple in the cage as an object for the majority of the film, and they're portrayed as objects to the Westerners that are looking at them, which really kind of changes their perception as to how it changes their perception of what they're actually seeing. So, for example, like the woman and a couple in the cage is like wearing some Converse. It's like an experience. They don't really even look at these people as human, and they're obviously not native people. But since they're like portrayed in that light, they think of them in that way. And you know what? I'm going to take a second to collect my thoughts on that. Okay, to continue off of what I was saying, you as a viewer sees the couple in the cage in the way that the Scotty people see it, to a certain extent, because you kind of jump between, and it takes you a while, at least it took me a while, to actually figure out that the couple in the cage was not a native couple. It was a bunch of actors pretending in an art exhibit. And that's a part of that intersubjectivity presence that not intersection. No, that's not the right term. Okay, it's basically like the silence and like that, how people are silenced and reduced to objects of someone else, of entertainment for someone else's story. Their culture is reduced to that level, and that's kind of what that is. So, all right, cool. And that's a wrap on part 2. Okay, I kind of switched positions just because I feel like this is a little bit more comfortable, at least for me, but, whatever. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about subject 3, which is like comparing, what's her name? Margaret Mead? Margaret Mead? Yep, Margaret Mead and her film about bathing babies in 3 different cultures and Baraka. So, really when you talk, like, in the origins of anthropology, you're talking about the like very Western romanticization of what other cultures are. So like, the natural man and everything, and the sort of like, I know I've been saying this a lot, but it's bringing in the mansplain. So basically being very ethnocentric about how you're viewing another culture and putting it in your own words. And what Baraka does is it kind of turns it on its head. So Baraka is a really good example of transcultural cinema, where you're basically trying to view another cult, like give a message that no matter what your culture is, you will be able to understand it. So that's taking on things like language, symbols, stuff like that, and like phenomenology kind of comes into view with it. It comes into play with this because no matter who you are, you're going to be taking something different away from it, and it's creating sort of like a different narrative than the standard documentary, which is telling you, like, yet again, mansplaining down to you about what something actually is. So, like, for example, in Baraka, there's a part where it's showing like a rainforest getting cut down, and then it snapshots immediately to like a native person who lives in that rainforest, and you can, like, at least for me, I was able to put that together, and it was far more impactful than someone being like, oh look, this rainforest is getting taken down for logging operations, and a shit ton of people are losing their homes for it. So yeah, that's kind of like the main difference is with Margaret Mead. She's showing another culture through her own lens, essentially. Whereas with Baraka, it's relying on that phenomenology of you, the viewer, to really put together what is actually going on. So, yeah, that's that. Anything else I'm forgetting? Yeah, to conclude, Baraka is just a really good example of transcultural cinema. I really enjoyed it. So, all right, peace out. All right, so now I'm going to talk about the really depressing one. So that's going to be Black Rain. Black Rain and Night and Fog. So, yeah, here it goes. Ending it on a sad note, I guess. All right, so the comparison between Black Rain and Night and Fog. Okay, okay, so first, Black Rain has more of like a narrative, a set narrative that's put in place between different people within the story, and Night and Fog really doesn't. It's like telling it's like essentially going through what happened, and it's not necessarily touching on the personal. And like in addition to that, like Black Rain is more of a like, gosh, 1 sec. Let me look at my notes here. I wouldn't say it's like reflexivity, but the film was made for the Japanese people by, well, it wasn't made for the Japanese people. It was made by Japanese people, and it was basically meant to show the effect that event had on Japanese culture. So there's an aspect of the story where it's a young woman who's trying to get married, essentially trying to get married, but like can't because she can't have children because of radiation poisoning. 1 sec, I'm gonna cut this. Okay, so coming back to it, Black Rain has more of a emphasis on aura. So, and that's basically like the aura is like the authenticity. Like a good way of putting it is if you're going to the top of a mountain, like having a picture of the mountain's one thing, but actually being there, having that like real moment is something completely different. So it's really trying to recapture that authenticity of what is actually happening so that you can, well, what actually happened with, before like you get to the gas chambers and the concentration camps. And it does that with like really dark music and like real shots without narrations. And it really creates a powerful message, whereas Black Rain is more of that explaining to you what's happening. So that's kind of the main difference, I guess, when it comes right down to it. So yeah. Okay, so as far as like the extra credit now, really going through like planning what I was going to do for this, it was like I wanted to have it bare bones, but at the same time be like kind of weird, which I feel like I kind of accomplished here. And I feel like what it really adds to the whole process is the fact that it's more personable and it's more real. Like, so with the paper, I get to go and research everything and take time, and like it's just a very different planning process. Whereas like with making a film, you have to be concise and on the spot and kind of plan out what you want to say. But really, when it comes down to it, you're not really planning. You're kind of winging. Well, at least for me, I'm kind of winging it. But like what I kind of got out of it is like that whole, like I really like to edit things down to the extent where it's like it's very like clean cut and everything like that. And so I'm kind of forcing myself to go like gritty and dirty with this, and I like it because it makes it like I'm appreciating more the creative aspect of what film can be, which I really didn't look into before. Like I used to think myself like a video buff and everything like that until like I started realizing that the really good movies are the really shitty movies. So yeah, that's kind of it when it really comes down to it. I feel like a paper gives you more of an opportunity to expand and elaborate on thoughts and even like make that progression yourself. Doing something outside. Yeah, so like doing something, it gives you the opportunity to expand on your thoughts and move forward in a way that film doesn't necessarily, unless you like really heavily script it, I guess. So, and also like with like papers, you don't get tone, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. And like for me, I feel like that was kind of a neutral aspect to it, but I think that's kind of like it can be kind of cool to hear that from a student if like they really didn't like a concept, or if they really thought a concept was weird and stupid. They can be really genuine about it on film, but in a paper they're really not going to say that just because you don't have that personability as you do talking to a camera. But yeah, so those are kind of my thoughts. Yeah, so I'm going to conclude this whole shindig
So have a good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time of the day you're looking at this. So, yeah, bye.